Hello everyone, and welcome back to Team Chaos MTG on YouTube. I am Dodge, you are watching, or listening, or maybe reading this in the far, far future via some sort of space braille, and today we are talking about the very first bans in the Pioneer format. It's been a little over a week since the Magic community was introduced to a better frontier, and already we're seeing that some cards are just too good to keep around. This morning, Wizards of the Coast announced that the following three cards were headed to a nice farm upstate. Leyline of Abundance, Oath of Nissa, and Felidar Guardian are all banned as of tomorrow, or today depending when this video goes up. And just in case anyone is wondering why these cards got the all yeller treatment, I've got you covered. Let's start with the least obvious choice, Oath of Nissa. While it might not look like much, this card is bonkers as an enabler for 4-color strategies, especially those that lean on planeswalkers. Aside from providing card selection for 1 mana, it also makes sure that no matter what lands you have on the battlefield, you can cast any planeswalker in your hand. It did an especially great job at making sure that the Felidar Guardian decks didn't have to worry about all the different colored spells they wanted to cast. And, oh, hey, is that a segue? It sure is. Felidar Guardian, just like its time in Standard, got the boot because of the infinite army of hasty cats it creates off the back of Saheeli Rai. It isn't hard to see why this card is banned. In fact, I'd put good money on most players having seen this one coming. And last up of the three is Leyline of Abundance, another card that seems innocuous at first, but in a format with Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, it has proven itself to be incredibly powerful. Being able to power out a turn 2 Nissa who shakes the world with just a couple of these bad boys in your opening hand may seem like Magic Christmas Land, but the consistency with which the big green decks are able to slam massive Hydras, Planeswalkers, or just create a wall of giant elves was too great to allow this leyline to stick around in the format. Now, I haven't personally played with any of these cards during their short time in Pioneer, but I've played against them. And while that was happening, I was toying around with a few other strategies and honestly not doing so well. But it's been super fun, and I can't wait to keep trying new things. So, let's take a look at what I've been losing with and what I'm hoping I can win with in the near future. Prophet of Kruphix is one of my all-time favorite cards in the game. Along with Den Protector, it provided the core for an incredible brew I played while these cards were in Standard together. In Pioneer, they're just a bit too slow. Maybe it's the fact that Little Teferi turns off the best part of Prophet. Maybe it's the fact that there are just so many other things I could be playing which are just better for the same cost. This format is dominated by cheap threats and planeswalkers, and neither of these cards fit that billing. Speaking of Teferi making other decks play Hearthstone, blue-white control has been fun, but not super effective. Narset is great, Teferi is great, and Supreme Verdict is great, but these are all relatively slow compared to some of the other things happening in Pioneer right now, and often they just don't provide the same edge that they do in other formats they see play in. Not having path to exile is also a pretty big problem for the archetype. Realistically, I think I've had the most fun so far playing different variations of the Sultai control deck, but they definitely need a little bit more of an edge against the blisteringly fast aggro decks that have become popular over the past week or two. I mean, Vraska Golgari Queen and Oko Thief of Crowns are incredible, but when your opponent is getting in for 6 or 8 damage in the first few turns of the game, they don't really hold up. I think it's about time to include some number of Witch's Vengeance or Cry of the Carnarium in the main deck. Maybe even Bile Blight makes the cut. Cry is fantastic against mono red decks and their small creatures, it's phenomenal against the mono-white humans decks, and it's pretty decent at clearing the skies of any Arclight Phoenixes that show up, though it's far less good against bigger creatures such as Thing in the Ice or Crackling Drake, and it can be painfully bad in a matchup against the big green decks that lean on creatures like Polychronos or Courser of Kruphix. It also gets rid of our own Jace Vryn's Prodigy and Golden Goose, but that's probably more than a fair trade in the long run. As for the birds, we'll just have to let Grafdigger's Cage and Lost Legacy deal with those. Hopefully. Or maybe I'll just try out the Mono White Humans deck for myself, jamming almost nothing but 1-drops like Thraben Inspector, Boros Elite, and Mardu Rowweeper, all getting swole off of Thalia's Lieutenant, not to mention the cheap protection for the team provided by cards like Brave the Elements and Selfless Spirit. It seems like it might just be the premier tribal deck going forward. And if that doesn't work out, Izzet Phoenix looks super fun, and I have lost a lot of games to it. While it doesn't have access to cards like Faithless Looting, it does have some big creatures, lots of evasion, and Chandra Torch of Defiance to help power out the last few points of damage if it needs to. And no matter what happens, I'm sure I'll still be playing suboptimally and hating it. But that's just how things go on the road to getting better. Let me know what you think is next up on the chopping block to get banned in Pioneer down in the comments, and I'll be back again for another video as soon as I'm back again for another video. See you next time. Hey everyone, Dodge again, and real quick before I let you go, I just wanted to say thank you again for checking out the channel. If you're enjoying yourself, click the like button, subscribe, share the video. Really anything other than a thumbs down helps the channel. And honestly, I think that's still better for the YouTube algorithms than nothing at all. So yeah, go ahead, hit the thumbs down button if you hated it. And I just wanted to say before I leave, I hope you're having a great day, night, whatever time it is. Keep doing what you're doing. Even when things seem rough, it always gets better if you just keep going.